We're going to talk about a different kind of rug that we got into the shop the other day, a very interesting one. This is a sort of a 70s design, a Persian design. And at first glance, it kind of looks like a wool rug, a standard oriental wool rug. But on closer inspection, it's actually not wool. If we look on the back here, we can notice that the knots per inch are very, very tight compared to your standard wool rug. Now, some wool rugs are very tight too. They just use stronger or smaller yarns, and they pack them down really tight. So that's not necessarily an indicator that it's not a wool rug, but it's one of the things that we look for. If we grin the fibers here, let's see if we can grin it. That means trying to open up the fibers to look at the backing. This one's really dense, so it's hard to do so. But we can, if we can do that, we can kind of see the knots, how they're tied. And this one looks like it's symmetrical, meaning both of the pieces of the string come up, the yarn come up to form the pile, and they cut it, so they're symmetrical, meaning they're wrapped around the warp yarns evenly. So yeah, this is an interesting rug. This is actually silk. And the only way we could find out is by doing a burn test. I'll tell you one other way that we can find out. When you walk on a silk rug when it's wet, it feels like you're walking on snow. And you know, you get that crunchy sound when you walk on snow. That's what this sounds like when it's wet. Especially these dense ones like this. But even a smaller pile will still make a crunchy sound to it. A wool rug will not do that. So that's our first indicator. Of course, we'd have to get it wet to find out first. But let's go over to the table here. I'll show you how we do a burn test. What I've done is found a couple of strings that were loose. You might want to stand over here so that the light doesn't mess us up. Now this may be part of the warp yarns. I'm not sure yet. I found this on the back and I snipped it, and hopefully that's a knot. And we'll take it. What we'll do is take this. We cut it off in an inconspicuous spot. We find a loose yarn, and then we just snip it. Hopefully from the back side. These came from the back. And then we simply burn it. We always want to use a lighter and not a match, because the sulfur from the match will throw off the odor. And we want to burn it and pay special attention to the color and also the odor. Now, of course, you can't smell this, but I can smell it, and it smells like something protein burning. Let me try to burn some more of it. It does not support a flame very well. It's not like whoosh, you know, like if this was synthetic, this would melt extremely quickly. This one, you could see that it just had like an orangish glow to it. So that tells us that it's definitely a natural fiber. And let's look at the ash now. It's sort of formed, still a little bit hot, so I'm going to let it drop for a minute. It's formed like a shell over top, and it didn't just fall apart and ash up to nothing. It's still burning, as a matter of fact. That's why it's hot in the middle. So let's try to tap that out. There we go. So this is the ash that's left over from that fiber. And you can see that it crumbles apart, but it's not black. It's like a gray black. Combined with the odor of sort of a protein, a sweet protein that's burning, with this grayish color ash, this is definitely silk. If this had burned and smelled like burning hair, no, that would have been wool. This fiber came off of the fringe, so these would be the warps and the wefts that form the foundation of the rug. So let's see what this is made of. Okay, that's we're also getting the same glow to it. It's got a sweet, sort of a protein odor to it. It's got a skeleton left behind. So it's got sort of an exoskeleton left behind. That means that it is also silk. If this was wool, that odor would have been burning hair and would have not had a skeleton like this, and it would have been black. This is a dark gray. It would have been more like an ash heap, if you will, just like embers that have fallen into pieces, not a carcass that keeps together pretty well until you touch it. So what we call this rug is a silk on silk. The fibers that hold the rug together in the foundation, the warps and the wefts that run this way and this way, form the fringe, and they're all silk. And the fibers, the knots that are tied through here, are also silk. So we call this a silk on silk. It's a pretty interesting rug.